What's up, peeps? What's up, peeps? It's your boy T. You know me, I'm just ready to get it in again. Just to drop some knowledge, drop some inspiring words. This video today is basically about, some self-defeating and self-supporting attitudes and behavior that we go through, that we exhibit, whether we know it or not, whether we're going through stuff, whether we're going through a fight, whether we're dealing with systemic racism, whether we're dealing with loss. There's a lot of things that we do, whether we know it or not, that are self-defeating. And there's also things that we can do that will self-support our attitude and behavior. Before I get into that, I just want to just drop some numbers on you guys. As you know, and hopefully this video is going around to other states and stuff, that we have a lot going on in terms of violence and things that's been going on ever since the 4th of July weekend. And I just want you guys to grasp this for a minute before we get into what the main videos are for. In Chicago, and this was as of, if this is Wednesday, then we're talking about the 4th of July weekend. So in Chicago, 77 people were shot. 14 of those 17 were killed. These numbers, by the time you've watched this, may have exceeded this, but this is the tally that I've gotten so far. Atlanta, 20 people shot, including an 8-year-old child. By the way, in Chicago, a young lady, baby, if you will, Natalia Wallace, was killed. In Atlanta, 20 people shot, an 8-year-old girl by the name of Secoria Turner. Ironically, little Secoria Turner was killed and shot across the street from the Wendy's parking lot where where Rashad Brooks was killed in the Wendy's parking lot there. It's so ironic that I feel that we have taken on this fight along with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor, and talking about police brutality, excessive violence. And it's so ironic and hypocritical that this young baby was shot and killed in that parking lot across the street, shot across the street from that parking lot. In Philadelphia, 26 people were shot on Sunday. 7 died, including a 6-year-old boy. And in Philly, a woman was shot 12 times. So this not only affect the men, the young males, it also affects our women, our babies, our family unit, if you will, right? That's something that we need to stop doing. We're realizing that we're fighting the enemy from within, and it gives people like that occupant in number 4 in the White House. It gives people like the white supremacists and the racist cops and even the people in our own communities that say, see, they kill themselves, right? New York City, 37 shootings, and out of 37 shootings, there were 56 victims. So that tallies up. It could go down to, in one shooting situation, there were more than one victim. That's troubling. And in Boston, where I live at, it's 7 killings in less than a week, 5 murders from Friday through Monday, 9 non-fatal shootings, 3 non-fatal stabbings, 5 people shot in Lynn Cookout, 1 killed, and some of the 4 people were shot. But by the time you listen to this video, from what I understand, some neighborhood and people did turn on these folks, turned them in, and there were some arrests as a result to that. Nationwide, at least 6 children were killed over the holiday between the ages of 6 and 14. And this is what I mean, guys, that we're sitting here and we're talking about, which, by the way, some of this violence is blamed on COVID and all these other things. But listen, this is why I'm so strong on the disbanding and defunding police, because it doesn't matter. I mean, even if the funds go to resources in the community, some of these people just don't want to go. They just won't go. And defunding police, taking the money and disbanding police, who's going to take care on these murderers? Who are going to take on the murderers of our kids, our women, and ourselves? So disbanding police, to me, is just politicized. It's just people who are taking this agenda and running with it and feel like the best solution is to get rid of the police department. No, like I said, if they do things like what we see that's so obvious and so blatant, then get rid of them. Get rid of them on the spot. But at the same time, if we have people out here running around killing each other, then what is that? I mean, because after all, 90% of the killings are from people of color, from our own people. So it's like, it's really hypocritical, and it's really something that needs to stop. But this video mainly is just to give you an idea of things, but also maybe that what I'm about to talk about with self-defeating behavior, maybe we can work on those things within ourselves, because you got to know your worth. And if you don't know your worth, then you're really walking around here blind, right? So I'm going to talk about some things quickly, and I hope something that I'm saying gets to you, affects you, and please share this video with others, because it's something that we all need. Okay, so self-defeating behavior, blaming others. We all blame people, right? We don't like to take responsibility for what we do, so we always like to point the finger, but not the thumb. So if you spend a lot of your time blaming others, then it is a form of self-defeating behavior, whether you know it or not. Hating. People hating on you, right? People hating because with this video, people, with what I'm doing in terms of YouTube and Facebook, people are hating on it, right? That's not my problem, right? That's not my fault. It's their fault, right? And it's self-defeating to them because they feel like they have to hate. Instead of doing something along the lines of, say, what I'm doing and what others are doing, they hate them. So if you have people who are hating on you, or you're hating on people yourself, that is a form of self-defeating behavior. Losing your temper. That speaks for yourself. When you lose your temper, you're self-defeating. You're breaking yourself down because you can't control your anger, right? But don't forget, there's some people who confuse passionate and a person of convictions with someone losing their temper. But you know what you're capable of. And if you are losing your temper a lot, you are self-defeating. Being late. Listen, you're judged by the way you're on time, right? You ever been in a job where you were waiting for somebody to come to work to relieve you and they didn't show up, or they showed up late? That is demoralizing. It breaks you down to a point where you're like, you know what? Then all of a sudden you end up not liking that person, right? That person can be a great person, but they're never on time. That's a self-defeating behavior. Remember this, guys. Early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. So take that in and think about that, okay? Complaining. There's people out here that no matter what, they're always complaining. Whenever you talk to them, they're complaining. They're that Debbie Downer. No one likes a Debbie Downer, guys, right? If you're a person that complains a lot, believe me, it's self-defeating to you and who you are as a person, because you're spending so much time complaining, you're not thinking about the bigger picture. Fighting. Putting your hands on somebody, getting to a point where you're exacting violence on people. It just doesn't work. It's self-defeating, if not dangerous, right? Because people don't play around anymore. So if you're a person that's so quick to fight, then it is self-defeating behavior. Procrastination. Procrastination is you're always putting things off to the last minute. That's self-defeating because, again, you're not reliable, right? And your character is the number one thing you have. And if you procrastinate a lot, there goes some self-defeating behavior. Abusing others. People out there abusing nursing homes, at nursing homes, elderly, the less fortunate, the voiceless, right? And even just each other. Abusing others is a self-defeating behavior and attitude. Making excuses. There's people that make excuses all the time, right? Like they say, excuses are like buttholes. Everybody has one. So instead of making excuses, try to find a solution to your problem. Ignoring the truth. Some people would not admit the truth unless you had something in their face to say, hey, this is what you did. And they still would ignore the truth. Nope, wasn't me. Nope, I don't care what. Come on. You know yourself, right? If you ignore the truth all the time, you have to do some self-evaluation, and it is self-defeating behavior. Lying. My grandmother used to always say from the South, she never liked a liar or a thief. When you lie, your credibility goes from up here to down there, right? And once you tell that lie and get caught, to some people, it's very, very hard to get that back. So if it's not, your life is not on the line, if your family's not on the line, if your health is not on the line, why lie, right? Again, self-defeating behavior, giving up without trying, right? A lot of people give up without even stepping to the plate. Like I always say, a good try is better than a bad fail. And like that Henry Ford quote used to be said, is whether you think you can or whether you think you can, you're right. So think about that, right? If you can, if I tell you to try to accomplish that and you say, T, I can't do it, you're right. But if you have that enthusiasm and you look forward to that, hey, do that, yeah, I can, then you're right. Being argumentative. There's some people who just argue. And like they said, if you spend your time arguing with somebody over there, somebody will look across the street and be like, look at those two fools arguing. Pick your battles. Remember that. Pick your battles. Avoiding responsibility. A lot of people out here don't accept responsibility for what they do, right? It's always the world. It's everybody else and not you. Take some responsibility, because it takes two people to conflict, right? A person can't conflict by themselves. So if you're in a part of a conflict or something where there's two sides to every story, you may want to admit that, you know what, let me take responsibility. Spreading rumors. Spreading rumors is something that people have died. People have lost jobs, including me. People have lost jobs because somebody has spread a rumor. And then, or they lie on you, right? And then spread rumors after that, whereas that just is kicking somebody when they're down, and it just compounds the problem with people. Never admitting you're wrong. That speaks for itself, right? You're not always right. In your life, you're not always right. Comparing yourself to others. Instead of being worried about what you don't have, be blessed and thankful for what you do have, right? Don't worry about because somebody have more. Don't worry about because somebody has a YouTube channel or Facebook Live channel. Don't worry about that, right? If somebody has it and you want it, achieve it. But to compare yourself to other people, that's self-defeating, because you're saying that you're not worthy to achieve what they have and who they are. Distrusting others. You cannot go through this life, people, without trusting somebody. You have to trust somebody, whether it's your mother, sister, brother, father, girlfriend, wife, friends, neighbors. There is somebody out there you have to trust. You cannot go through this world by yourself. Acting dumb. That just speaks for yourself. Every time you say something, they're acting like they're dumb and they're stupid, right? That does nothing for you, but just makes you look like you are that person, that dumb person. No one wants to be looked at as dumb. And if you walk around like that, having your foot on each side of the line, then it is look like that you don't stand for something. Pretending you don't care. And pushing others to the edge, right? If you're that person that like to push buttons to make people get over that edge, then you have some really self-evaluating things to work on, and you're self-defeating. You know what I mean? Okay, so I just bust down a bunch of self-defeating behaviors, but then on the flip side of that, I have some self-supporting behaviors. And here they go. Routinely examining your circle of friends. Right? Stop being around people who are not supporting you in your cause or whatever you're doing. Get rid of them. Re-examine them, right? Because true friends you only have on a few fingers. If you got a lot of these circle of friends that are not supporting you and that are letting you go through things and not being there for you, not being that unconditional, you may want to examine them, right? Because as we speak now, I have examined and re-examined some of my circle of friends, and you know what? I'm better off without them. Realistic self-appraisal. Like I said, point the finger. Don't point the thumb. Don't point the finger. Look at yourself. Evaluate yourself. Appraise yourself, because nobody's perfect. Surrounding yourself with quality people, right? Like that saying, you're judged by the company you keep. So make sure you have somebody around you in your life that is objective, right? That will let you know when you're wrong, when you've stepped out of bounds, when you need to, fall back, right? Some people like to surround themselves with people who are the yes man, right? So surround yourself with quality people. Asking for help. Nobody's above asking for help, right? That foolish pride. If you're hungry, you better knock on somebody's door and say you're hungry. Find that person that you know that will definitely be there for you. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. Letting go of yesterday's baggage, right? Why do you think they put a rear view mirror in a car, right? Because the further you get away from it in your rear view mirror, the smaller it gets behind you, right? That's water under the bridge. Get rid of yesterday's baggage. Accepting responsibility for your own behavior. If you know you mess up, fess up. Show humility. Trust me when I tell you it will get you through and you'll have a better outcome, right? Because people have died to this day because they don't take responsibility for their own behavior. Rewarding yourself in healthy ways. No matter what you're going through, guys, make sure when you walk out that door, nobody knows what you're going through unless you tell them, right? Because if nothing else, it makes you feel better. Because believe me, the people who are doing that to you, they're not losing sleep. They're not walking around looking like yesterday's news. No, not at all. So don't you either. Creating and using support groups. There are support groups around. You just have to ask, right? A closed mouth don't get fed. Some people don't like therapy and psychiatry. I get it. But find these groups, right? I have one of those support groups in my community that is geared to helping people go through things, right? So look for help. Ask people. Because some people like help, they want help, but they don't like the way it comes. Being supportive and trusting of others. Like I said, you got to trust someone. Being as attentive to yourself as you are to others. And I'm guilty of that. I'm always so quick to be there for everyone else, but I got to start taking care of myself. Start taking care of yourself first, guys, because your family and people like that, you're no good to them if you don't work on yourself. Using conflict to promote positive change. Turning a negative into a positive, okay? If something happens to you, turn it around, right? I had that evil thing done to me at court. Because of that negative thing, now I run a men's group that's been going on for 6 or 7 years. Now I have a YouTube channel where I'm helping people, hopefully inspiring people. So turn that negative into a positive. Taking care of your mental, physical, and spiritual health, that speaks for itself, right? This is not a come to Jesus moment, but listen, spirituality in your life, being a God-fearing person will always help, always, can never do you wrong. Mental and physical, whatever you do. And lastly, being a participant as well as an observer, right? So don't just keep being that Monday night quarterback, right? Don't just be that person pointing at everybody else, do everything and not you. Get into the fight. Roll your sleeves up, right? Because what's the worst that can happen? So basically, guys, that's basically what I want to share with you guys about some self-defeating and self-supporting attitudes, right? Use these. And I guarantee you use some of these things, recognize your self-defeating behavior and attitudes, but also start to insert some of the self-supporting attitudes and watch and see how things change, right? Because if some of these people out here that were either harming these people or had people around them look into this stuff, you can reevaluate yourself and help others. So this is your boy T, man. You know I'm dropping it like it's hot, man. As you know, I'm not afraid. I'm getting this word out, so hopefully it can inspire everybody. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe it, and for more videos and content, and actually, share it, right? And have people come on and support me, man, because I'm doing this for the love of helping. I'm not doing this for any money, any gain, but every time I see somebody view it, every time I see another subscriber, it makes me feel that much better. So this is your boy T. I love you guys. You guys be safe. Don't forget, the coronavirus is crazy. It's going up. And if we don't get it together, man, we're going to be wearing masks for years. So this is your boy. I love you. And like I always say, I'm woke. And I'm just trying to make sure you are too. This is T Flint. I'm out until we talk again. Thanks for your time.